Hello friends, good morning all. This is Dr. Kolyas. I am a veterinary surgeon currently practicing under Government of Odisha. In this lecture we are going to discuss some of the important questions from Indian polity that has been asked previously by the OPSC in its preliminary examination. In this lecture I am going to deal some of the questions asked in 2012, 15, 16, 17, 8, the 5 years questions. If you analyze the questions from 2012 to 2018, you will find some questions are repetitive in nature. Means some of the questions they had been asked twice, thrice, even 4 times also. So this is very important. So coming to the discussion, the first question is which act provides, listen carefully, which act provides the federal structure of India? Which act of Britishers, not written, which act provides the federal structure of India? It is the correct answer is the Government of India Act 1935. Under Government of India Act 1935, you will find there is a proposal to form All India Federations. All India Federations. At that time, some of the states are directly under the control of Britishers, and some of the states who are enjoying the autonomy or autonomy. These autonomous states are known as the princely states. They are being autonomous under the umbrella of the British rules. So, the All India Federation structure was not possible due to the princely state because they did not wish to join in the federations. Coming to the next questions, Union Council Minister consists of there are 3 to 4 numbers of options are there. Let's see what is the Union Council Minister. This Union Council Minister, a group of ministers generally formed by the leading party or the party which proves majority in the floor of house. Generally, that party forms the government. This Union Council Minister found in only Lok Sabha. It's a very composite structure. At the Union Council Ministers, Mr. PM is there. To assist PM, a 12 to 15 member senior ministers are there who form the cabinet. To assist cabinet, a minister of states of independent charges. Again to assist minister of independent states for independent charges, minister of states. Again to assist it, the deputy ministers. Again PM, cabinet, minister of independent charges, minister of states, and the deputy minister. If we go from outside to inside, then the roles and responsibility of each sphere is getting more tougher and more crucial, and the answerability to legislative is more prevalent, is more deeper. That's why the PM along with its cabinet member, it is known as the nucleus of the Union Council of Ministers. Coming to the third questions, who appoints chairman of OPSC? Generally, the president appoints the chairman of OPSC. Under Article 315 to 323, it is the jurisdiction that has been laid down in the Indian Constitution 315 to 328 for the chairman of UPSC. A question was asked in 2018, what is the tenure of chairman of UPSC? It is 6 years or 65 years of age. Which one is earlier? Coming to the next questions, granting pardon under Article 72 is exercised by the President of India on the advice of, question of A, Union Council of Ministers, Cabinet, only PM, all of above. Again, I am repeating the questions. The granting of pardon. Pardon means the death sentence or the pardon means it's a quite of relief measures to the convicts who has been convicted for death sentence by the Supreme Court. ତାକୁ ଯାକୁ ରାଜକ୍ଷମା କୁହାଯାଉଛି ବା ଇଂଲିଶରେ କ୍ଲେମେନ୍ସି କୁହାଯାଉଛି. Granting of pardon under Article 72 is exercised by the President on an advice of only Cabinet. If you see the Lakshmikant's book, then it is clearly mentioned the cabinet, only the aids and advice of the cabinet, not the Indian Council Minister, not the PM, not all, only the cabinet ministers. The pardon power is also exercised the governor under Article 161, but death pardon is not exercised. Very important. The pardon is exercised by the governor also, but not the death pardon. The pardon exercised by the president under Article 72. Please remember. Coming to the next questions, schedules deals with the divisions of power between center and state. We know there are many powers. Some powers are exercised by the states, some powers are exercised by your union level, and some of the powers being exercised by the state and union. So the correct answer is schedule 7. I have a formula to remember all the schedules. Please, that formula is tiers of old PM. Let's remember numbering it. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So first there are 12 schedules in your Indian constitutions. First T represents territory and union, or union and its territory. E represents the emoluments, salary, the privilege, all the things. A represents affirmations or oath. R represents Rajya Sabha. S represents scheduled areas and scheduled tribes. O represents other scheduled area which is not a part of Schedule 5. F represents the federal structure. O represents the official language. Please don't confuse the O and this O and this. This O at Schedule 6 deals with the other schedule area, and at 8 is the official language. L represents some land reforms. D represents the defection law. It's also an important question. Defection law. P represents Panchayat Raj institutions, PRIs. M represents the municipalities. Again repeating, T represents territory and union. E represents emoluments. A represents affirmation and oath. R represents the Rajya Sabha. S represents scheduled area and scheduled tribes. O represents the other scheduled area. F represents the federal structure. O represents official language. 9 for land boundary, these things. D represents the defections portions. 11 for PRA and 12 for the municipalities. Coming to the question number, next questions. 73rd Amendment. Question number 3. 73rd Amendment derived from the article which one? We know 73rd Amendment, Constitution Amendment, it deals with the formation of the PRIs, Panchayat Raj institutions. Very important. As this is an act, so this act has been derived from the DPSP. DPSP means Directive Principle of State Policy, which has been given in the Part 4 of the Indian Constitution. The DPSP, its main aim is to provide a social and economic justice to the people of India. And basing on this philosophy, the Indian government makes laws. Under Article 40, it is clear-cutly written that the states should take endeavor to form the PRIs. From that, the 73rd Amendment, the Constitution Amendment, came into effect. It's Article 40. Coming to the next question, right to information is a which type of right? We know it's just a legal right. Next question, members of Constituent Assembly were nominated by I am directly giving you the answer. Elected by the legislature of various provinces and nominated by the rulers of princely states. It's a very simple questions. Then another question was there. Chairman of the Constituent Assembly. It's a 3 times questions, asked questions. Chairman of Constituent Assembly was Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Constituent Assembly, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Some of the important questions that also asked that the idea of Constituent Assembly was first struck into the mind of M.N. Roy. Okay, in the year 1934, M.N. Roy is a communist, and he advocated the forming of the Constituent Assembly. In the year 1935, the Indian National Congress also put forward the demand to form the Constituent Assembly. Coming to the next questions, into all this was questions was in 2012. In 2015, first question was, which act changed the Governor General of Bengal to the Governor General of India? This is our India, unified India. During that period, there are 3 presidentials there: Bengal, Mumbai, and Madras. All the powers are vested upon the Governor General of Bengal, and he exercised power for the whole India. So a act was there which was known as Charter Act 1833. Under this act, the Governor General of Bengal is now known as Governor General of India. In this way, Lord. Next questions. There was a event. Some events are there. Chauri Chaura incidents, Minto Morley reform, Dandi March. Another is a Montfort reform. 1, 2, 3, 4. Questions was asked to arrange them serially, chronologically, from the past. Then the Chauri Chaura incidents was occurred in 1922. Minto Morley reform 1909. Dandi March 1930, and the Montfort report was 1909. So first was your Morley Minto reform, then your Montfort reform. This is 2, this is 1. Third is your Chauri Chaura, 4th is your Dandi March. So you just arrange it. The next question is, there is in elections there is provisions of giving the voter cards to the citizens, and this has been advocated by the Bohra committee. Bohra committee deals with the provision of the identity cards to the voters. This committee was formed in 1993. Coming to the next questions, coming to the money bill. It is a very important thing, money bill. This money bill is under Article 1110. Please remember, this money bill is under Article. This money bill is only introduced at Lok Sabha. Second important thing. Third, never in Rajya Sabha. Third question is to certify whether it is a money bill or ordinary bill or it is a other type of bill. It is the sole authority is given to the speaker. Speaker certifies whether it is a money bill or not. Rajya Sabha can't initiate the money bill. Suppose a money bill is there. Okay. After introduction in the Lok Sabha, it goes to the Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha is bound to give its assent or to its approval to this money bill. And if within a period of 14 days, if it is if it does not do anything to that bill, then it's supposed to be passed, then go to the president. And if Rajya Sabha return this bill with certain modification or amendment, then the Lok Sabha may or may not accept or may not consider the amendments. It's a very important question regarding money bill. Coming to the next questions. Power to issue, next question, which can be issued for the enforcement of fundamental rights? Writs. Very important. There are certain writs are there. It is exercised, remember students, by both Supreme Court as well as the High Court to enforce the fundamental right. If your fundamental rights are under threat or it is being snatched away by someone or by the state, then the Supreme Court as well as High Court can issue writs. There are many types of writs are there, like habeas corpus, mandamus, certiorari, quo warranto, prohibition, all the things. So please remember all these writs. Generally, they are being asked frequently in the examinations. Then coming to the next questions, first committee to demand constitutional recognition to the Panchayat Raj institution in India is under the committee of L.M. Singhvi committee. L.M. Singhvi committee first gave the constitutional recognition or to the Panchayat Raj institutions. Next question was the collegium system was first introduced in judiciary systems. Then coming to the CVC was set up, very important. CVC, Chief Vigilance Commission. This is the apex monitoring commissions watching the corruptions level among the government officials. So this committee was formed on the recommendation of the Santhanam committee. Very important one. Then under this there are some of the important committees also there. The Gorwala committee, you should please remember, Gorwala committee is for the year public administrations, okay, and Santhanam committee is for your CBC structure. Coming to the next questions, which then coming to the next questions, urban local body, ULB, a question was there. Urban local body is under part 9A, schedule 12. Very important. There are 18 numbers of subjects has been given to the urban local body. Its power is 243 P2, 243 ZP. Please remember part 9A, schedule 12, 18 numbers of subjects are there, 243 P to 243 ZP, and Lord Ripon is known as the father of all the PRIs or the urban local bodies. Very important. Like in PRIs, it is in part 9. There are 29 numbers of subjects are there. Okay, please remember this. Next, coming to the questions, year of RTI coming into force in the year 2005. That article that has been given to the special status to the state of Jammu and Kashmir, and that is recently abrogated, the article 370. Year of SARC, it is a different question. Year of SARC was made in the year 1985, just please remember it. A question was there during the emergency time. During the emergency time, what happens? The union snatch away all the powers from the state level, and the state assembly, for the state assembly, the union or the Lok Sabha, they forms law or during the emergency. So emergency is proclaimed by the president. Okay, by a proclamation order, the emergency was being into effect. This emergency, the president cannot take his in his own discretion, but he should, on the aid and advice for PM and its for the Council of Ministers. The aids and advice of the Council of Ministers, the president should take, and then he proclaims an emergency. Then under the emergency, there was a Article 352. During the word was there, which is not categorized for the proclamation of the emergency, that is internal disturbances. In original constitution, this internal disturbances was there. During the Indira Gandhi period, what happens? He using this word, he arrested many student leaders of Bihar and other states. That's why when in 44th constitution amendment was came by the Janata Dal, then this internal disturbances was omitted. Was there, but then it was replaced by the armed rebellion. Next is there. The Supreme Court of India is different from the Supreme Court of your United States of India, because Supreme Court of India, there are many options are there, and I think the most appropriate answer the advisory role. Okay. Then the question is next coming. The trade union is coming under which subjects? The concurrent list, state list, and your union list. The trade union is always under the concurrent list. Citizenship is always union list. Please remember it. DPSP is coming from the Ireland. Please remember. Another question was there. In India, suppose this union is there, the state is there. If there is any misunderstanding between the union and the state, then the matter goes to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court resolves this issue or resolves this problem, or better to say adjudicate this problem by its original jurisdiction. Supreme Courts have many jurisdictions: original jurisdiction, appellate jurisdiction, writ jurisdictions, like this. So using its original jurisdiction, it resolves the center state disputes. Coming to the next questions, a saying, which country political party system is known as empty bottle by Bruce. I don't know actually what is the meaning of it, but when I made it Google, I found it is USA. Next question is the separation of power, which in the federal structure, which we have earlier noticed. The concept of separation of power is given by the Montesquieu. It's a very important portion in the year 1978. Between the legislator, as we know, there is a legislative organ, there is a judicial organ, there is an executive organ, and there should not be any interference. So division of power is given by the Montesquieu in order to separate their power, and all lawful detention of a person is questioned by the writ of habeas corpus. Now, suppose the police is coming to your home and he suddenly arrests you. Then you go to the court and you go to the custody. Then you should ask to the police, under which ground you have arrested me. So it's your right, it's your fundamental rights. The police, if there is no affair, the police can't arrest you. This is your right. and you should ask and you can challenge it at High Court as well as the Supreme Court. This is the habeas corpus. If police takes you under any affair, he under any odd circumstances like in holidays or in suppose strike is there. Besides this, he cannot detain you in custody more than 24 hours. Within 24 hours, the police should present you before any magistrate. So this is the habeas corpus. Then next question is RTE, right to education, is coming. Very important questions. 86th Amendment Act, Constitution Amendment Act 2003. Then coming to the next question on 2017-18. Chairman Committee of the Constituent Assembly, I have discussed Mr. Rajendra Prasad sir. Federal structure is obtained. India is a federation. But please students, please remember, in constitutions there is no word for federations. The Article 1 what says? India, that is Bharat, shall be union of states, not the federation of the states. So, this federal structure, the concept of federalism is coming from your Canada. Please remember, the judiciary system, independent judiciary, is from USA. The DPSP system is coming from Ireland. The constitution amendment system is coming from South Africa. From US also, we have the fundamental rights and all the parliamentary form of government, the president, the prime minister, the upper house, the lower house. In Britishes, it is known as the upper house, it is known as it is the royal house or house of people. In the Lok Sabha we are calling it. So House of Lords and House of Lords and House of Commons, I think, the Britishers. And in India, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, all the concepts are formed from the British government. So the question was the federal structure is coming from Canada. Then the DPSP, another question is there. Under DPSP, Directive Principle of State Policy, it's advisory in nature and it is not enforceable and you can't enforce it. And DPSP holds the cornerstone or the bedrock for Indian government to make laws. DPSPs are very, very important. Please remember, it is telling the Uniform Civil Code is under Article 44. Then next one is coming, and the protection of the museums of national importance, the Union Civil Code, and protection of museum of national importance is under Article 49. Please remember this. Then the philosophical postulates of Indian constitutions, it was obtained from the objective resolutions moved by J.L. Nehru sir. Then when there was a tussle among the states to form, to maintain or to prove their own dominancy, to form their own states, at that time there are many commissions there. Abul Fazl Committee. Then question was there. I am actually question na dekhiya kotha. Not the members of SRC approved by the J.L. Nehru. J.L. Nehru sir appointed 3-member committee to a state reorganization committee on the linguistic basis. Under that committee, Fazl Ali, K.M. Panikar and the H.N. Kunjuru. All these 3 members are they formed the SRC appointed by J.L. Nehru and they gave recommendation regarding the formation of states on linguistic basis. Then next question is the bicameralism is the central level. Okay, Government of India Act 1935. Formation of your bicameralism at the central level. A question was there, please students, please remember, all communalism is harmful. The logic of minority communalism is separatism, and the majority communalism is culminating fascism. This was a famous thing by the Bipin Chandra. I was not aware of that question. Then 73rd Constitution Amendment is not applicable to JNK, we know it. Then the chairman of UPSC holds office for a period of 6 years or either 65 years age, whichever is earlier. Then which is the not a structure or not a feature of a Indian judiciary? It is committed judiciary. The judiciary is separated from the legislative body as well as the executive body. Then next question is coming. Which one is the first states to be formed on the basis of linguistic basis? That is Andhra Pradesh, and the first after Andhra Pradesh there is bifurcation of Gujarat and from Maharashtra. This is the 15th state, very important. And Sikkim become a part of Indian Union, and it is a 22nd numbers of state. Please remember. And that is the first article says the India, that is Bharat, is a union of states rather than federation of states. So the word federation is not written anywhere in the Indian constitutions. So this much for today. This is, please, if I have given any wrong information, please give your valuable suggestion in my comment section. Finally, I will like to request you to do like, comment and share to my channel and subscribe my channel so that I can improve my efficiency in the next upcoming video. Until, God bless you. Thank you.